Kyle here for the All Media Reviews podcast. I forget what number of podcast, maybe 8 or 9. It's been a few weeks since I've done a podcast. Anyway, I'm going to try to talk about, there's a few things I want to talk about, but I guess since it's the first podcast, and now we're in February, so it's really the end of the first quarter, or the beginning of the second quarter, I'm going to talk about the year's albums and what's coming up again. So, I'm not going to really keep these as a ranking. I'm just going to say these are all albums I enjoy. But there's not a clear-cut number one. But anyway, Long Distance Calling's Boundless. Very impressed by this record. It's all instrumental, but it very much is reminiscent of Avoid the Light from 2009, my favorite album that Long Distance Calling made. But it also sounds a little bit like Trips, their last record. And some of their more recent records, it's sort of modernized or updated, but very impressive drumming. There's a lot of great things about this record. I'm going to continue listening to it. The Gloomcatcher's Blade and the Belfry EP. The first week it came out, I listened to that probably 5 or 6 times. It's only like 4 or 5 songs, but it's excellent. It's really, I think, one of the large focus for Jesse Raborti and Nick Lambert now that the Falling Up is basically done, indefinitely. Typhoon's Offerings, I talked about that a little bit on the other podcast. I'm continuing to enjoy it more. I saw them live, that was great. So it's a concept album, it's dark. I'm not sure how much play it's going to get throughout the year based on that, but at the same time I appreciate concept albums, so I like it a lot. I might not like it as much as the last album, but I still like it. And there's at least 4 or 5 songs that are sort of go-tos, but I'm not going to be able to rattle them off at this point. Galactic Cowboys, Long Way Back to the Moon. Talked about this in the last one of these, year podcasts, but it's a great return to see them 17 years later put out an album, and it's similar because it has Dane Saunier to their first couple of albums in a lot of ways. A lot of great melodies, the riffs, etc. Orphaned Land's Unsung Prophets and Dead Messiahs. Another kind of, I wouldn't call it a comeback record, but it surprised me how much I liked it. They did another album like a year or 2 ago with Amassifer, I think it was, which I wasn't as into. It was like a collaboration. But their last proper full-length, All Is One, was quite good, but I haven't had the time really to go back to it, but I enjoyed it. I don't know if this is their best album since Mabul, but it might be. Or Warriors, the one that came out many years later, but was the follow-up to Mabul. 2004's Mabul, but Unsung Prophets and Dead Messiahs, it's like it doesn't overstay its welcome. The ethnic percussion and the themes, even though it's kind of prophetic and religious, that's kind of what you get with Orphaned Land. They talk about religion and a lot of political stuff, but still, when it comes down to it, the music itself is where it works, and the vocals and just a lot of the instrumental arrangements. In Vain's album Currents, I do like it a fair amount. I showed it on a video, I believe, recently. On my last video. I need to listen to it more, though, but I'm still liking it. The Deer Hunters, All Is As All Should Be. It's a good collection of songs. Definitely not part of the Axe series concept, and even a lot of ways in sound. But I like it. I don't know if I love it, but I still like it. There isn't a song I skip on it at the same time, but there's a few tracks that stand out the most. The Faceless in Becoming a Ghost, when it first came out, I listened to it a fair amount, and I haven't gone back to it, but I need to still go back to it. Maybe by the mid-season list, I'll have a better full gauge on it, but I remember being impressed by it more than I thought, and much more than the last album, Autotheism. Diablo Swing Orchestra's Pacifisticuffs, another one which I did enjoy. It's catchy. The one track they had from a few years back, I forget the name of it, the first video they did, like 2014, is probably still my favorite track among this whole record, but another case of where I enjoyed it, but I haven't had the time or the priority to go back to it, to really see if it would be, higher up in terms of how I see it. Greg Herriges / StellaRoma's Revel and Ritual, and the version of Carol of the Bells, or I forget the proper name, it's an ethnic name for that song, is the biggest highlight. He does an incredible arrangement, rivaling Marillion's Carol of the Bells, better than Sabotage / Trans-Siberian Orchestra's version of Carol of the Bells. The rest of it is good. It's good to see Greg finally release some kind of new studio recordings since really the last album he did, Telluric Currents, in 2009. So, but this is as StellaRoma or with it. But it's all holiday music, but it's not just Christmas music. But yeah, bouzouki, of course, and a lot of ethnic instruments, of course, and a lot of acoustic guitar. Esperanza and tablas, of course. Esperanza Spalding's Exposure, plus the Undeveloped CD or EP or whatever it is. Another one, enjoyed, but haven't found myself attached to it, but I've meaning to go back to it. I've listened to a lot of talk radio and a lot of podcasts, so that's the reason why, and a lot of YouTube reviews. But yeah, I could see that one definitely kind of ranking higher. You know, again, this isn't a proper ranking exactly, but by the mid-season I'll do a more proper ranking. U2 Songs of Experience. Surprised how much I liked it compared to like the last few U2 albums. A little bit long though. I don't need the Kendrick Lamar song, but other than that, I enjoyed a lot of it. Or I'm enjoying a lot of it. I should enjoy it hopefully the rest of the year. Cloud Cults, they put out a soundtrack, all instrumental basically, with some chanting for this film, The Great Alone. It's like a documentary. I like it a lot, although, you know, I'm taking it for what it is. It's really soundtrack for a film. I want to see the film, but I don't really consider it like sort of like on the canon of their consistent run of studio records, because obviously it's a little different when I don't even know if it's the whole band. It probably is, but there's no Craig Minton on lead vocals or anything like that, so... and then Nicholas Krygovich, In an Open Field, I listened to once. That's about the only record on this list that I can say that I really don't anticipate listening to that much the rest of the year. But so, alright, I'll add also Field Music's Open here I've listened to and I liked it, especially the last track, which is like, I don't know how long it is, 4 or 5 minutes, but it sounds a lot like Sufjan Stevens. It's all instrumental though, I believe. And it's not as long and sort of, not repetitive, but a lot of the Field Music albums, they have like between 10 and 17 or 18 songs, so they get much, and a lot of them kind of blur. This album, I'm not so sure. At least the fact that it's not quite as long. It's only like 45 minutes long. I'm just guessing on that length, but if it is even that long, and so this might be the best Field Music album since like Measure. So. Umphrey's McGee's It's Not Us, I have yet to hear. I've been meaning to check it out, but I have yet to hear. So, and there's a couple others like the Dangle Trios, Dang, and you know, there's some other records that that have come out that I haven't gotten a chance to check out, of course. Now getting on to, if I have enough time here, well, I only have a few more minutes left here, but getting on to the stuff that is going to come out. Well, we're on February 9th. Nothing is, you know, oh, okay, there is one thing that came out today. I didn't even realize that. I'll have to be checking out soon. Between the Buried Enemy's first of 2 releases this year, I think, called Automata 1, or Automata, Automata 1, Part 1 or 1. And the first song they released like a little over a month ago, I really liked. No filler, no long-winded sections, so the arrangement worked. It reminded me more of something off of Alaska. But I haven't heard it yet. It comes out today, February 9th, Friday. Let's see here. The rest of the stuff on my list here. Decemberist, I'll Be Your Girl. The first song was okay, but I'm not all that sold yet to being excited for it, but I definitely will check it out. The last record I loved by them was The Crane Wife, which is over 10 years ago now. The album's coming out on the 16th of February, just next week. Next Friday. Is it March? Oh, that's why I had my dates wrong. So Between the Buried Enemy comes out the 9th of March, not February. I was thinking that was messed up. But yeah, this other stuff that's coming out in February, I'm not really going to be anticipating so much. Kino, the side project from Peter Awas, Radio Voltaire, but I've never been able to get that much into Kino. Baroners, a complex of cages. They're kind of like a black metal band, like a thrashy black metal band, but they're not like Vector. They're not as good as Vector, at least. Anyway, yeah. So we have Kimbra's Primal Heart in April 20th. God is an Astronaut has an album called Epitaph on the 27th of April. That's about really it. Again, the December is the 16th of March, not February. I had my months mixed up here when I was reading this list. And okay, so there's a bunch of confirmed titles. John Anderson has 1,000 Hands. He's been working on that for like 20 years, I guess, or something. It's a long-awaited thing he thinks he's going to finish. Between the Bear and Me may also release Automata 2 after March, sometime later in the year. Chromeo's Head Over Heels. Chic About Time. It's About Time. I think I mentioned that. Joey Upright album, Word to the Wise. The Last Fish album, White Schmerz, of course. Now known as Kindo, not the Reign of Kindo. Happy, However, After. Obviously, that's a very high priority for me, which I've heard probably a lot of the songs. If Ars' album, Spectacular Sight, obviously comes out, that's a big deal. Josh Rouse, Love in the Modern Age. I've heard like 3 or 4 songs. It's going to be more chill and almost synthy, which is odd for him, but it's good to hear something maybe a little different from Josh Rouse, because he's been sort of hit and miss the last few years, last how many albums. Liminal Phase from Cultured, of course, is a priority. I'm not sure it's been recorded, but you know, they've been silent on Facebook the last how many months. Spock's Beard's new album it's supposed to be possibly called Noise Floor, maybe in the spring or early summer. Tears for Fears, The Tipping Point, Third Degree, Ones and Zeros, Volume 0. So those are titles. Then we have like a bunch of bands. Ben Sinister, Foals, For the Imperium, Genders. I talked to the guitarist from Genders who was in an opening band with Typhoon, and she said it's been recorded. It just needs to be released. Maybe this summer. Gortia, Imogen Heap, Leto and Wright, Janelle Monáe, maybe, if her acting career doesn't get in the way. Muse, Native Construct. That is kind of up in the air based on some stuff I've been reading. Who knows if it will come out this year. Never Ending White Lights, supposedly will. The Sea Within, that supergroup project. Sound and Shape, Shun, which was an offshoot of the band Sans Serif. Dredge fans, I love the band Dredge. And speaking of Dredge, they're recording an album too. They're on the list. I don't know if it'll come out this year, but Benart, Soundscape, they're recording the vocals recently, so that record I would anticipate coming out sometime this year, at the latest sometime early next season, or 2019. Then of course there's a long list of speculation. The Bruce Peninsula, Chroma Key, been putting up demos. Disillusion, East of the Wall, of course Dredge, Fiacra. There's a new single coming out in March 15th I think it is. Flying Colors, probably more likely in 2019 based on Portnoy's schedule and the other members' schedules, but Grimace, Jazz Kamikaze, Carnival, Journal. King's X, actually, in a Q&A with Ty Tabor, said they are working on a new music possibly, maybe record a new album this year. So, if it's this year, next year. Yeah. Northern Abbey, is that Nick Lambert? I think that might be a side project. Also, I love the 2 EPs they put out, and the single they put out was like last year. Pepe Deluxe, I'll be huge into that. It's just a matter of, them being able to have the access to the instruments they need. But yeah, it's been 6 years since Queen of the Wave. I cannot wait to hear the next album from them. System of a Down, maybe, Sigur Rós, and some others. So yeah, it's a long list. Some stuff obviously that I'm not including on here and that we don't know about and not thinking about, and probably some stuff that it's been updated that I haven't updated the list yet. But I have to say that with like whatever it is, a dozen records or more already in 2017, 2018, this is turning out to be a very good year, very deep year. But I still haven't found that like statement record yet. But the new Long Distance Calling might be my favorite record right now. But again, this is February. We'll see where we're at around May sometime. But thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please give me a comment. What albums have you listened to this year that are your favorites? What albums are you anticipating that I maybe didn't cover or that I did mention? And give it a like, and please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye.